to Restorative. Good morning. My name is Amber, and I'm excited to be here with you guys to go ahead and get this started. Today we're going to focus, I guess, a little bit on low back if we wanted to call this class with some type of focus, but really it's just kind of about relaxing and just kind of noticing. So if you want to have a pillow or two, just a regular pillow right off your bed, or if you do have a bolster, you're more than welcome, of course, to always use a bolster. A couple of blankets, maybe one or two. You could always have three, but it's not a requirement. It's totally up to you, really. I'm gonna have two. These are kind of considered, I guess, more yogic blankets, just more commonly found in the yoga studio. And then if you'd like to have blocks nearby, you're more than welcome to have those. I don't know that I'll necessarily be queuing with those at all, but you're always welcome to add, delete, take away, whatever you want in terms of props. So yeah. Today we're going to start with our restorative bridge pose. So we're going to take maybe one or two blankets, if you'd like to have a blanket for the back of the head, or even rolled up so that you can have a little cushion for the neck when you lie down on your back. You're more than welcome to do so. And then your second blanket, you can kind of create as much height as you'd like in terms of being able to lift your back off of the mat. So I'm going to keep mine about here, and then I'm going to bring my low back, maybe even to the top part of my glutes a little bit, so real low back here. And then I'm going to release the shoulders, the back of the head down. And like I said, you can allow yourself to either roll that blanket up underneath the neck, or if you'd like to kind of shimmy the blanket underneath the entire back of the head, you're more than welcome to do so. And then from here, I'd like you to go ahead and walk your feet out just a little bit. Allow them to be comfortable here. I want you to relax your toes, and then allow your knees to kind of hang out right and left. Maybe the hands come out to the side, or maybe they come onto the hips and the belly. And so you have a nice bend in the knees here. Your feet are flat. You can create a nice wide stance with the feet if that feels good. Make any little adjustments that might feel good for you. And just notice how it feels to lie here. And then I want you to start to bring your right arm up and above the head, reaching the fingers back and behind you, resting the back of the hand onto the floor. And just notice how it feels. Take a couple breaths here. What do you notice? And then I want you to slowly allow yourself to release the right arm down. So take your time. There's obviously no rush. And even notice how it feels to make this movement as you begin to move the arm and draw it down on towards the floor, on towards the mat, or really whatever surface you happen to be lying on. And then whenever you're ready, you're going to do the same thing with the opposite hand. So when you're ready, nice and controlled, you're just going to start to move the left hand up, reaching it towards the ceiling, towards the sky. And then the arm's going to release behind you. The back of the hand can rest onto the mat, onto the floor. Again, the surface that you happen to be dealing with today. And just take a few breaths here. And again, just beginning to notice. What do you notice in this area? Do you notice a little more, a little less compared to the other side? And then with control when you're ready, and again, this idea of just noticing, begin to lift the arm and release it down on towards the mat and or floor. When you're ready with your next inhale through your nose, begin to lift both arms up, reaching them back. Backs of the hands release onto the surface that you happen to be on. Release the arms back down. Notice how it feels to move the arms. Notice the sensation throughout the shoulders. And then 2 more times, allow your hands to relax. inhale through your nose, reach your arms up, gradually bringing them back. And releasing the tops of the hands, backs of the hands on towards the surface, the mat or the floor. Allow yourself to breathe freely, not necessarily controlled, but just noticing that you are allowing these inhales and exhales as you facilitate this movement here. Release the arms down if you haven't already. And then we'll do that one more time. So take those nice, good pauses, those moments of stillness in between the lifting and lowering of the arms of the hands. Allow the stillness in between the movement to almost be a posture in its own. And then again, maybe you've already started to begin lifting those arms up and back behind you, backs of the hands resting on towards the floor or the mat, surface behind you. Breathe. Notice. And then of course you'll complete this nice movement by releasing the hands and the arms down to a nice comfortable place. Belly, ribs, maybe even out to the side. Begin to focus a little more on your breath. Just noticing each inhale and each exhale as it occurs. And similar to the movements that we did with the arms, begin to notice the pauses in between each inhale and each exhale. Notice the area of the belly, of the ribs, the chest and the shoulders. Each time you draw your inhales in, and each time you draw those exhales out. Eyes can gently close if they haven't already, and even if you're comfortable in doing so. If not, they can relax, maybe even focus on the tip of the nose, or maybe a particular object in the area where you are, the place on the ceiling, maybe a leaf on a tree. Notice the contact of the body onto the mat, floor. Notice any senses of stability, of grounding. Continuing to breathe, continuing to lie here. Notice the stillness. And then notice the breath. Staying here for another minute or so. continuing to breathe, continuing to notice. Three more full inhales. Three more long, slow exhales. In through the nose. And out through the nose, or maybe even the mouth. Completing your final breath here. Before deciding to open the eyes, maybe wiggle the fingers, lengthen your inhale or maybe your exhale in a way that feels good. Just any way to kind of bring a little bit of awareness to kind of interrupt that idea of stillness. Bringing some more energy throughout the body and just beginning to prepare for our next posture. So you can always roll to one side, allowing yourself to move in any way that feels good to be able to come out of this posture and prepare for the next one. This class is meant to build time for these transitions, not meant to rush. This is not a flow. And so just taking your time and really just acknowledging and setting up in a way so that you can find some relaxation. Our next posture is going to be a twisting posture. And so you're going to need your belly, well, you are going to need your belly, but you're going to need your pillow and you're going to need one blanket. If you'd like to use two blankets, you're honestly more than welcome. You could use two pillows if you wanted to. This is also a great option if you have a bolster, that you're more than welcome to use a bolster. And so you're going to have your setup somewhere like this, and it can be towards the back of your mat or towards the front of your mat. There's no real particular here. And facing your props, you're going to take your knees together, bend them, and you're going to bring them out to the left side. So if you automatically went to the right, that's okay. You can stay in the right side. And so as your knees are off to the left or right, mine are off to the left here, you notice that like your right hip, this right side, right thigh, is kind of close or maybe even touching onto your props. And that's cool. Get a little snuggled up towards your props here. And then if you think about it, if you were to just lay right down, you would likely be laying on your shoulder, maybe a little bit of the side of your face, but you could always turn your neck, and you'd likely be laying more so on the side of your body. But we're going to kind of create a twist here. So what I'd like for you to do is to go ahead, place your hands onto your props, and then I want you to kind of guide your chest so that now you are facing towards the front or the back of your mat. You can place your right hand if your knees are out to the left, or your left hand if your knees are out to the right. And you're going to place it down onto the mat or floor, and then you're going to allow the belly, and it's primarily going to be the right side probably of this front body section that comes down. From there, you can allow your arm to find a comfortable place. Sometimes I find it comfortable to bend the elbow and bring it on top of my prop. You're going to lay your head down and then allow your left or right arm, that opposite arm that happens to be kind of hanging, and just allow it to find some comfort here. So again, you might place it onto your pillow in between the blankets, or you might even find comfort in placing it down onto the floor. You can gaze towards the direction of your knees, or if you'd like to, you also have the option to gaze away from those knees. Again, just deciding which one feels good, and maybe even fluctuating between the two, and just noticing even how that feels. From there, whenever you're ready, I want you to go ahead and make any small adjustments, and then to get to settle into this posture here, finding comfort. And then once you feel that you've made any little last minute adjustments that you need, I want you just to start to focus on your breath. Just notice each inhale and each exhale as you begin to draw them in through your nose and out through your nose, but always the option to draw your exhales out through your mouth. Just like before, noticing those pauses, those moments of stillness in between each inhale and each exhale. And maybe even adding a count if you decided that that worked for you. As you inhale, maybe counting to 4, pausing, holding the breath for another 4. And once again, that number 4, allowing your exhale, pausing once again for 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Pause, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Own pace, own flow, honoring if I cue too fast or too slow. Ditching the counting altogether if it doesn't quite work for you today. And just continuing to notice the breath. Can you breathe into both sides of the ribs? Can you notice the movement of breath throughout the backside of the body? Continuing to notice and breathe, holding this posture for just another minute or 2. Eyes relaxed. Feelings of grounded and stability. Slow, deep, long inhales. Allowing that pause and then that nice lengthened exhale. Take your time, allow yourself to press into the hands as you lift the chest up off of your props. Turning your chest out towards the direction of your knees. I then want you to allow your side body to relax down on towards your props, releasing that arm, so likely the right arm if your knees are out towards the left, your left arm if your knees are out towards the right. And allow your head to relax down on towards your arm. And then reach your left arm up and over towards the back or front of your mat, depending on how you're positioned. So your arm may be resting onto your head. You might even actively be kind of keeping it up off of your head. And I just want you to notice here for maybe a couple breaths, and that can be anywhere from maybe 3 to 5. As you breathe, notice how the breath feels. Do you feel open in any particular area? Tight or stuck? And then you can gradually start to bring that top arm down. You might even use that hand placed onto the floor, the surface, to kind of push yourself up. You're going to keep the props in the same place. What you're going to end up doing is you're just going to end up turning away from your props, so allowing your low back and your belly, low back to be onto the props, your belly to be away from the props. I'm really killing it with my cues today. So if you need to, you can kind of take a hold of your props here and even snuggle them closer towards your low back, towards the area of your bum, your butt. And then from there, I want you to go ahead and know that you can always decrease or increase the size, the height of your props. And I want you to relax back, knowing that if you'd like to, you can take one of those blankets that you happen to have and roll it up, protecting the neck, if that feels good for you. Legs can be long, or if you decide, you can allow your knees to be bent, similar to that first posture we did, that bridge. And you can have your knees kind of sway out to the side a little bit, take your stance a little bit wider, even toes can be a little bit wider. So feel free to kind of sit up, adjust, take away, like I said, add anything that you need, just allowing this to be a little bit more comfortable for you. Ultimately, the time spent in the postures moving should be really allowing the pose to work for you. So if you notice any type of sensations that are unwanted or unwelcome, allow yourself to get up and kind of change. Maybe you decide to lie flat on your back, or maybe you decide you only want a pillow or only a blanket. And just allow yourself to kind of make the pose kind of fit what you need for today. So like I said, legs long or knees bent, arms out to the side, or even a nice place to place your hands onto the areas of the ribs, maybe even the low ribs, down towards the belly. So fingers might point down, palms of the hands will rest on the low ribs. Relax the muscles of the face, maybe even move the jaw around a little bit, allow the tongue to relax down. And if you happen to have your hands placed somewhere onto the ribs or belly, just begin to notice with each inhale the connection the hands have with this area of the body. And then as you exhale, just begin to notice how the hands now begin to press down in towards the ribs, towards the belly. And as you inhale, the belly, the ribs start to press in towards the hands. And not creating a forced type movement, but just noticing. So maybe this is really subtle, or maybe the movement of your ribs and belly is a little larger. And that's okay. It's just about noticing. Softening your glutes, your butt, softening your knees. If you notice any tension or tightness throughout the shoulders, or maybe even into the neck or upper parts of the back, allow your focus to go to filling up this balloon being your belly, and really allow the low belly to expand and reach out with each inhale. And with each exhale, just allowing yourself to retract the belly in, feeling this sense of stability, this sense of grounding. Filling the belly, the balloon up once again, low, low belly. then exhaling, noticing the sense of grounding and stability throughout the body. Continue to notice your breath and hold this posture for the next few moments. Three more inhales and exhales at your own pace, continuing to notice. And then when you're ready in your own time, we're going to make our way into that nice belly down twist that we did just before this on the other side. So take your time and allowing yourself to come up, doing whatever it is that you need. If you would like to grab some water, if there's any little stretches you want to do or any movements before you move to the other side, feel free. There is no real requirement to move your props unless you want to kind of add something or take something away, or if you made changes in this last pose and you'd like to go back to what you did before. I am going to demonstrate kind of showing away from you guys, just as I did the posture kind of towards you, but I want you to see the movement coming from the other side of the body. So as you bring your knees out towards, for me, it's going to be towards my left. But for you, if you did your left on the first side, do your right, obviously. And then that idea that you might notice that your left hip, your left side of the leg, the left leg happen to be pretty much snuggled up against the pillow, or might even be touching. And my idea here is to go ahead and snuggle up a little bit closer. And then from there, you might notice kind of before that if you were to just lie down right now where your body is, your chest is kind of facing out towards your knees, and you would likely be laying onto your side body, more so maybe even onto your shoulder inside of the face. And we want to make this a little bit more of a twist. So what I'd like for you to do is place your left hand, maybe the right hand, again, if your knees happen to be out towards the left. And I want you to go ahead and kind of turn your chest so it's facing towards the front or the back of your mat, depending on how your setup is. And then from there, primarily it's going to be the left side that you might find that is more grounded, or you can tell is definitely on the pillow or blanket that you have. And then from there, you can begin to release down. So you can walk your hands out towards the top, or like you said, the back of your mat. And then from there, it's that same idea. So your left arm begins to relax down, and you could also slide it in between the blankets and the pillow if you wanted to. You could even slide it underneath the pillow if you want. The gaze can go towards the knees, or if you'd like to, you can take the gaze away from the knees. And don't think that just because you did one particular way, the other side, that you have to do it that way this side. That's not true. Feel free, if you'd like to, take your gaze in the other direction that you did before, that you're more welcome to do so. And then make any little last adjustments that you need. If you'd like to take away a blanket, if you'd like to hug a pillow or a bolster in a little bit closer, if you need to kind of lessen the twist, or if you'd like to kind of deepen it in a sense. So just again, allow yourself to just find that place that feels comfortable. And maybe this isn't a place that you would stay forever, but just this, where can you find comfort in this posture? And then gently decide if you'd like to close your eyes, if you'd like to keep them relaxed and open, but maybe on a focal point, somewhere in the room, or even outdoors if you happen to be there. And then just begin to notice your breath. As you breathe, notice each rib cage here, left and right. Notice the back side of the body. Notice the areas within the room that feel connected. You can feel the sense of breath. Settle into this posture a little more. And just continue to breathe. A few more moments here. Three more inhales and exhales here. Feeling the connection of your body, your breath, and the stillness. Eventually in your own time, just like we did on the other side, I would like for you to press into your hands as you lead the chest off of the props. And then you're going to go ahead and bring it back to that beginning position when we first started to set up for this posture, where the chest is pointing more towards the knees. From there, you're going to allow, for me, it's going to be the left side, down on towards the props, the blankets, or the pillow, with the left arm extending out. The left arm can be relaxed down, whatever feels good. And then from there, the right arm, right hand is going to reach up and over the head. The elbow might bend, allowing a little bit of an active arm here, or you can release that arm down on towards the head. Totally up to you. And just notice how this feels. I just want you to breathe a couple times. That top arm is what ultimately might be easiest in terms of pressing it down on towards your surface to bring your body upright to prepare for our last posture. Take your time. Any other additional movement you may or may not need is totally welcomed here. At minimum, a blanket and a pillow, but feel free if you have extra blankets to stack them on top of your pillow if you'd like to, or even below the pillow. We're going to come into, I'm going to call it constructive rest. So this can be support for the blanket at the back of your mat, can be support for your neck, or just a nice little padding for your head. And then from there, I want you to drape the backs of your legs, so your thighs and your backs of your knees, and maybe even a little bit of your calves underneath the blanket, over the blanket, over the pillow. And then you can scoot forward. If you're dealing with a pillow, those things kind of move pretty nicely with you, and they're pretty light, so you might be able to kind of scooch it forward with your body. And then from there, I want you to release down. You might have to adjust and shimmy just a little bit to find that comfort in your head and your neck. And like I said, don't feel rushed in trying to find a comfortable place in these positions. So toes can turn out. It might feel good to have knees a little bit wider. It might feel good to have feet together. Almost imagine you're zipping the legs up, and then gradually the knees go out. You might adjust your shoulder blades a little closer together, or you might create a little bit of space between them. And your arm placement is really up to you. It's going to be onto the belly, onto the ribs, out to the side, or even above the head or out for a cactus or a goalpost. The elbow bends, back of the hand down, palm up. And you can point out your toes or maybe flex your heels, rotate your ankles. And I want you to go ahead, chin in towards your chest. I want you to lift the back of the head up just a little bit, and then lower it back down. Close your eyes if that feels good. Again, find that focal point. And just begin to notice the breath. Maybe eventually even letting go of the breath and just allowing it to be, and just enjoying this stillness, this sense of nothingness. Sense of support without asking. The sense of stability coming from within. Overwhelming feelings of relaxation, calmness. Softening throughout all areas of the body. And lastly, the area of the mind. Acknowledging any disruptions, any thoughts, any sounds that may occur. And then allowing that nice full exhale, inviting them out and away. If all else fails, just bring your attention back to the breath. Allow this to guide you. Feel a sense of awareness, of peace. Continue here, finishing out class, breathing in, breathing out. Finding stillness, feeling calm. Inhale and exhale. to count out your last 10 full, long, slow, deep breaths, or option to continue and allow yourself to just be in these last few moments of this posture. Started to finish out. Maybe you still have a few more breaths left to complete, and take your time staying where you are. Maybe starting to add a little bit of movement. The eyes are closed, maybe you start to open them. Maybe you tap each one of the fingers onto the thumb, feeling the connection of each finger pressing into the thumb. Maybe you point out the toes, relax toes and press the heels. Maybe it's that full morning stretch where you reach the arms back behind you, maybe even interlacing the fingers or grabbing a hold of one hand and reaching back. And just take your time. Maybe you decide to lie here for another, 30, 45 minutes. Eventually, if you decide for another option, you can always come to a nice seated place, onto any of your props, maybe sitting back onto your heels or even into a nice easy seated pose, which can often sometimes be not so easy. Option to take a few cat and cows. Hands can be placed onto the knees, palms down, and then as you find a nice little grounding here, you can round the back out, draw the chin in towards the chest, and then as you shine the chest forward, lifting, and then take the gaze up. Shoulders relax down, round, draw the chin in towards the chest, and open through the chest, shoulders relax down. Shimmy the shoulders a little bit here, bring the hands to the heart. Place the thumbs on towards the chest and gaze down at the fingertips. Super honored to be a part of your practice, the opportunity to guide. Forever thankful. The light in me honors the light in each and every one of you. Namaste. Thank you guys so much. I really, really, really appreciate it. Just know that all opinions, comments, and feedbacks are always welcome. You can reach out via email. If you'd like to message me on Instagram or Facebook, you're also more than welcome to do that. So yeah, I hope you guys have a great Sunday, and I hope you have a great week here coming up. And yeah, take care.